in gratitude of what I helped do there in the house, gave me a potato, 2 carrots maybe, and I was so proud of myself to being able to bring to my mother those little items so she could cook something. Right away we were hungry. That's all we got is 10 deco bread, which was not well baked, it weighed so heavy. The 10 deco bread, it's probably 100 gram. And my mother said, Sonia, we have to give this bread to the men. They go out to work for a full day. They have to eat. Otherwise they won't be able to work and they get beaten up. So we'll just manage without, we'll do something else. A little water, a little soup, something, you know. It was hunger right away. Right away we were hungry, nothing to cook. Came Friday, my mother was upset. There was nothing to cook for Shabbat. We still worried about Shabbat. Every single day there were killings. I remember they used to take the girls and men out to build roads. And one of the girls, the last name was Melamed. They lived on our street, and there were 4 cousins, and they worked on the road. And when the peasants passed by into town, to the mills or whatever, they tried to purchase a piece of bread or a piece of butter. So one of the Germans noticed that, and right away he tied them together, 4 of them, tied them together and brought them to the Gebietskommissar, and right away they were shot. And one of the girls, I was told that her hair turned gray immediately. And then the Gebietskommissar asked the head of the Judenrat, his name was Koppelson, a very nice man. He had a pharmacy before the war, and he should come and take these 4 bodies, and he should bury them and say Kaddish. See how nice they were? To say Kaddish. And I'll never forget the atmosphere, the sadness of that day, of these 4 young girls, the way they were shot, and it was killing every single day. And he went out and we heard shots, so we thought he was killed already. Then my mother said she's going to go out and see what happened to father. And we heard shots again, and I thought my mother is killed already also. And so the end with the 3 children, the Aunt Cyril said to me, Sonia, you see, they're both killed already. There's no use standing around. Let's run. So I said to her, I can't run because where would I run? My parents are not here. I really don't want to go and run anymore. I'll go out too. Perhaps they'll shoot me also. So everybody was for themselves. My aunt picked it up with the 3 children and she ran in a different direction. And all of a sudden I see my mother coming back, and I said, Mom, you were shot. How can you come back? She said, quiet. I told the policeman that I have a daughter and I'm coming back to get you. And we walked out on that street, and that policeman was a Ukrainian who knew my family. He went to school with my brother. And he said, you have to lie down on the ground, I'm going to shoot you with the weapon. He was standing above me and he wanted to shoot. We had no money to give, nothing. My mother started pleading with him, kissing his hands. She had a marriage ring, she took it off and she gave it to him. She said, but whatever we had, we gave you. Why don't you let us live? What did we ever do to you that you want to shoot us? Let us go. And somehow he let us go. And what he was doing now, he was doing illegally running vodka. He was making vodka in his house. And he was sitting and talking, and he said to us, if you will go deep into the woods, I will see to it that you get food. I will allow you to use my potatoes. I'll show you where they're hidden, and I'll bring you some bread when I can, and you just go into the woods. And he left. He said he was coming back on Sunday with his wife and bringing some provisions for us, but we did not believe him. So my uncle said, let's go in deep into the woods, and we will be watching for him and see whom he's going to bring us. So we'll be able yet maybe to escape. And sure enough, came Sunday, he came with his wife carrying a pail full of pierogi with beans and some bread and a little vodka. And we sat down to talk with him, and he just looked at me and he started crying. And he said, well, you older people lived a little, but she had no time to live yet. Why should she suffer? And he cried. And he left, and he said, you go in deep into the forest, build yourself a little hut. A partisan group is a person, or it's composed of people who would like to fight to free themselves or free their country of the occupants who were very unfriendly to the population. And these are people who either put there to fight, or they ran away and formed a group to fight. In this instance, to fight the Nazis. And these are people who were fighting only to win. And if they might lose, never to come out alive. They never want to be caught again and put into the POW camps where they were shot and mistreated. So these are the people who formed the groups and fought, sometimes with the help of the Russians and sometimes without. They had to help themselves and provide for themselves any way they knew how. Sometimes maybe it wasn't pretty, because they went into a village and they had to take provisions. People had to eat. So sometimes it wasn't a pretty sight maybe to take things from people involuntarily. And this is a partisan group. Call it an underground group, a partisan group. And they truly were fighting very, very hard and desperately. May I introduce my family? To my very left is my daughter Bella Orbuch Wieland, and in the back of us is my son Paul Orbuch, and sitting with me is my beautiful granddaughter Eva Orbuch, and this is the extent of my family.